Hey there, everyone. This is Scott Caruso from MPX1312 here with my week 4 reflection video. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to break it down into two parts. First and foremost, I'm going to talk about the MPX experience and the RFP in general. And then I'm going to go into a little presentation as if I were delivering the RFP response to the person or group that was commissioning the project. But first and foremost, let's just talk a little bit about the RFP process. And I work in software development, video game development. Actually, I've been doing it for a long time, 12, almost 13 years now. And I've seen a lot of changes in my industry and in software development in general. And my real assessment of the RFP is that it reeks of the antiquated game development, waterfall development processes of the past, and seems like a very rigid, unagile kind of way of commissioning a project. That's not to say there's no value in it. Certainly there's value in defining the expectations right up front like that and trying to commission folks to do a job for you. But there are certain aspects of it that really seem like they do not embrace more agile, iterative development kind of mindset, and I think that's a little worrisome to me. It made it a little bit more difficult for me to come up with something that I felt comfortable with, only because I've gotten so familiar and comfortable with an iterative, sort of agile environment that's kind of where my brain is at. And that's kind of the biggest problem I found with the RFP process. Actually coming up with the documentation was fairly easy. I had to come up with a good idea and really flesh it out. That took some time, but I felt once I had an idea, I think putting together the documentation was simply a matter of following the instructions and making sure I met the requirements. Taking a more meta look at RFPs and the class in general, I personally didn't feel like I had a whole lot of trouble in the class. Again, my video game development background certainly helps me a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. I have perhaps an unfair advantage. So if my advice, to someone was to be, well, get into game development before you start Full Sail, that's obviously not very helpful. I think what you need to keep in mind, and anyone doing this, whether it's putting together the RFP or doing heuristics evaluations of other software, is don't ever forget that what you're doing is a job. It's not just playing games. It's not designing or testing or developing. It's not playing games. It's really a job, and really requires a lot of hard work to do it well and to really devote yourself to the craft. I mean, like I said, I've spent 12 years doing this, and though people still joke to me that I get to play games for a living, it is certainly not what I do. There's a lot of hard work that goes into it, and I think that's what I would impart upon other people as well if they take this class, is that don't underestimate the value of putting in some hard work to really evaluate and really understand the games or the work that you're doing. So that's the meta picture about the class. Let's go. I'll show you the RFP that I did now and give you the little pitch as if you were the commissioner of the RFP proposal. Hello there, my name is Scott Caruso, and thank you for taking the time to listen to my pitch in response to the RFP that was posted. The project I would like to recommend is, I'm codenaming it Snaps with Friends. It's not likely to be the final name, it's just a working title for now. But essentially what it is, it's inspired by the Snapchat application. It's a game. It's a timed kind of phrase guessing game that you play against another user, where essentially the user gets X amount of seconds building up over time. So maybe the first round he gets 2 seconds, second round he gets 2.5, third round he gets 3, so on and so forth, until he can guess what the picture is trying to show him. He'll get a number of blank spots to give him a hint on how many letters the phrase is, but perhaps the hint that would be shown would be an actor, like maybe Tom Cruise, as an instance. But you only see it for a brief second, so you need to figure out that it's Tom Cruise just from the brief view that you get of the image. And there'll be two modes: one with the stock pictures, like I just talked about, where you'd get like a Tom Cruise or something like that, but also one where a user can just play strictly with friends, can take his own or her own pictures, provide his own custom phrase or word, and they can play back and forth that way as well. In the stock mode, where we, the company, are providing the pictures, there would be leaderboards and things like that, and also power-ups that you could purchase with real currency that we'll talk about in a little bit. In terms of the market I see for something like this, I looked at Snapchat's market only because I think that's the kind of a relevant thing to look at for something like this. Snapchat reports that they receive over 400 million messages a day, and that their core user group is approximately 25 years old, so right in the middle of the core user group that we're looking for here. It's 70% female, so it's a little skewed a little bit more towards the females than the males, unfortunately. And the one thing that is unclear about Snapchat from any of their market data is how many daily active users that they have, because they will not report on this data. So we're simply guessing here. You go and you look at games like Words with Friends, that was a big deal for a while, or Draw Something, that was big for a while. These games have reported millions and millions of daily users. So the market for a game such as this is high, as long as we position ourselves well within that market. To kind of break down the game into a few bullet points, you want to be the fastest to identify a keyword or phrase based on a brief glimpse of a picture. Like I said, you'll start maybe seeing it for a second and a half, 2 seconds. Each round goes on. It'll be played asynchronously with another user, so both users will essentially get a chance to guess it in each round. And whoever gets it first wins. If you get it the same round, you tie, things like that. 2 game modes that I mentioned. The casual mode is more of a one round, just back and forth, fun, photo sharing. The competitive one is where it really starts to, you get people who really want to get on leaderboards and things like that. It's 10 rounds. The highest cumulative score there would win. You get unlimited attempts to guess the custom designed key phrase in the custom mode. You can play really just one person sending a picture to another. Both users don't necessarily need to be playing in tandem. The competitive mode is completely different. We'll provide a number of free photo packs with the application, but more difficult, more themed photo packs would become unlockable or purchasable after enough gameplay, or with a real money purchase of some in-game soft currency that I would like to integrate for the competitive mode. So you can either earn it very slowly through playing ad-supported gameplay, or you can purchase it with real money and then buy new photo packs with new leaderboards to get onto, or power-ups that could extend the amount of time you have to answer a question, or that provide text hints when you get to the text entry portion of it. The custom mode will be completely ad-supported, similar to games like Word with Friends or Draw Something, where they're both embedded ads and between-match ads, but we won't have any kind of soft currency power-ups or things like that, because it just doesn't make sense for the custom mode. Multiplayer support would be stock and standard for this kind of game. Facebook integration to get to your friends list, and also random matching to any active user of the game. This would be for competitive mode only. Would be the random matching. You could use this to get on leaderboards and things like that. We would not allow you to randomly match, custom match, simply because the potential for abuse by users would be very high right there. In terms of the technical specifications of the game, it'll be entirely 2D. There'll be some rendered on-screen imagery and graphics, and the pictures will be entirely 2D as well. I want to develop it both natively for the iOS and Android, simply because I think we could provide a better user experience and better tailored features if we focus on native code in both environments. It's an asynchronous game, so calls and text will be handled seamlessly, and it'll be delivered via the App Store and the Google Play Store. I expect to be able to have an iOS prototype within a week of RFP approval, within 2 weeks for Android, about 30 working days to get to beta for iOS, a couple extra days for Android, and both of those would be final within 40 working days, 8 working weeks. With an even split between Android and iOS development of $15,000 each within the final budget. And if we fail to reach the featured status or the rating status as promised in the RFP, we'll return $5,000 of that final payment amount per platform that we do not reach those goals on. We'll also do some user experience testing at approximately 30 business days of development, with 20 testers is the goal right now. We'll do some industry standard usability questions, and we'll also ask some heuristic style leading questions just to try to verify that we're on track on a number of other fronts. Obviously that's not ideal, but we have budget constraints that we're dealing with and time constraints that we're dealing with, so we will not be able to afford a full heuristics evaluation from a number of different test groups. And finally, a little bit about myself and the company, Car Mobile Developments. Me, I'm the president, CEO, and lead iOS developer. Got Joe Blow over here. He's the lead Android developer. So there's the two of us. We've developed 2 other projects in the past: MyGov for iOS and Polysocially for Android. These are both political tracking applications that were developed under the purview of Full Sail University. The long-term goal for our company is to develop 4 to 6 new iOS and Android applications per year, and also to reach 2 million downloads across all applications within the next year to year and a half. So that is my company. That is our RFP. That is the pitch for Snaps with Friends. Please let me know if you have any questions, and I hope to hear from you again real soon.